Hey guys, welcome to the Skull Show. It's your host Paxton. We're here with Jason, ready for the 2024 season. We are going to go through a few things today, starting with probably our Week 1 predictions. We'll get into Mike Zimmer and then maybe some more stuff after that. We'll start off with Week 1 predictions. Thursday Night Football tomorrow night, which is coming up pretty fast, actually. We got Ravens at Chiefs. Who you got winning?
Where's Kirko?
He is in Atlanta, so
Talk about him later.
yeah.
Chefs.
I'm going to go with the Ravens here just because I feel like the Chiefs usually start slow, but I mean, that's just a good game. So it's hard to pick week one. Week one's always hardest to pick because you're going off last season.
So I'll go Chefs.
Yep. Friday night, Packers at Eagles. This is a tough one. I think I'm going to go Packers. I think they'll start the season strong and then teams will start to figure out love a little bit better. And I think that the Packers are going to start off really hot and then go downhill. So I'm going to take the Packers.
My Super Bowl winning prediction is the Packers, but week one doesn't matter. For that prediction, the game is in Brazil. All the players might get mugged before the game. They've been instructed to stay in their hotel room and not leave ever until the game. I'm going to say, despite the Packers being my Super Bowl prediction to win the whole Super Bowl, I'm going Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, the Brazil thing is just stupid. I think the NFL needs to stop doing so much of their overseas games, and like, what is the point of sending teams to play in a stadium where they literally like can't leave and have to go the same in armored trucks just for extra fans? I don't really get it.
Hopefully the Eagles get abducted.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily mind it.
They'll
Next
have an
game,
NFL team somewhere overseas someday soon.
yeah, probably. I'd say they probably go to Canada first though, which I wouldn't.
London.
I wouldn't. I see the thing with London is that it's going to be like such a disadvantage to the people on that team because they're going to have to be going back and forth every week. So
They'd work out the schedule where they play 2 weeks at home in a row, 2 on the road.
yeah, probably, but I don't know. I feel like Canada or
fine.
Mexico City, they'd figured out their multi-billion-dollar corporation, but I don't know. I don't think London would be the first place to go. Maybe eventually, but next game, Panthers at Saints. This is a barn burner. I'm gonna go with the Saints just because I don't really have a reason. That's just a bad game.
Where's the game?
In New Orleans.
Take Sean Payton and the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, if they had Sean Payton, maybe, but who do the Broncos play? Seahawks. That'll be interesting. So we'll go to that next. Broncos at Seahawks. Who you got?
I think the Broncos are going to win more than the 6 games that Vegas has them at. They'll probably win 8 or 9, but they'll probably lose week 1 at Chickens. I'll take Chickens.
So it seems like your theme is to pick against people that you think are going to have a good season.
Well, just because the first game is like a preseason game since they don't do preseason games anymore.
Yeah, speaking of which, we'll touch on that in a little bit, but I'll just give a little, like, I don't know, foreshadowing. I like how O'Connell's been playing his starters more in the preseason, but we'll get to that later. So next game, Vikings at Giants. This is the one we obviously care about as we are on the Skull Show. So we want a score prediction and a game prediction, which, by the way, we are not doing the score predictions for every game this year just because that's a lot of work writing it down and obviously thinking of it. So only Vikings Giants will have score predictions. Vikings at Giants. With that being said, I'm going to go with the Vikings in this one. I think that I think the Vikings are bad and the Giants are awful. So I think the Vikings get the win. I think Jefferson dominates. Darnold, I think, looks serviceable, gets everyone's hopes up because that's just how it works being a Vikings fan. So I think that the Vikings will win, and I'll say they'll win 28-17. I actually have a pretty big win.
I'll not only give you a score prediction, a season prediction. Vikings 5-12. Sam Darnold will either be hurt for the season, cut, or traded shortly after the London game. With all that being said, they will win Sunday because the Giants are terrible. Their coach is going to probably get fired this year. It's going to be 25 to 17. Ugly game. Ugly game.
Yeah, probably gonna be pretty ugly game. I don't know. I just feel like the Vikings Darnold's gonna look great because that's just how Vikings quarterbacks work, and everyone's gonna be wanting to extend him, thinking he's the future, wanting to trade McCarthy, and then comes out week 2 versus the Niners, I believe, and just train wreck.
Darnold
That's
will
my
have
prediction.
182 yards passing, one short touchdown pass, one interception, and the story of the game will be the running backs, Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good prediction. Uh, I wonder how long we're gonna get out of Aaron Jones. He's always been injury prone for Green Bay, but I think he's a great player. It's just really hard for him to stay on the field, it seems.
He'll get hurt week 2 or 3. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, okay. So next game we have Patriots at Bengals. I'm not gonna think twice about this one. Bengals usually suck week 1, but the Patriots are the Patriots might get 3 or 4 wins this year. They're awful. And their coach has made it very clear that he believes that May is the backup and Brissett is a starter, which I think that May is just going to be absolute bust because I don't think the Patriots have the correct infrastructure to develop a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know about May. He might be really good. Don't know, but I kind of want to pick against the Bungles because I think they're going to have a bad year, but they'll probably find a way to win week 1. Bungles.
Yeah. All right. We both have the Bengals on that one. So next we have Steelers at Falcons. Kirk Cousins versus Russell Wilson. So I think I think that Wilson is just going to be benched by week 3 or 4. Fields will get the starting job, not be much better, but I'm going to go with the Falcons here. I think that they should be solid with Kirk, probably like they always were with the Vikings, 10-6, make the playoffs, lose the first round or something. Or knowing the Vikings, Kirk wins the Super Bowl. But
so Kirk will be an MVP candidate with Jordan Love. Those two will be batting that out. And like the theme of my prediction so far today, Falcons will win their division. They'll win a playoff game. Kirk's going to be in the MVP running, but they will lose week 1 to the Steelers. Steelers win week 1.
Interesting. I don't hate it. Next game, we have Texans at Colts. Texans also have a few former Vikings. Diggs said, actually the other day, he said, well, he had multiple quotes. One of them was talking about how the Vikings and Bills didn't want him gone, and he's the one that made him leave. Like, I mean, I don't get what his point there was. Maybe that teams are desperate to have him, but that's just kind of stupid considering the Vikings replaced him with a younger and, in my opinion, way better receiver in Jefferson. And the Bills obviously drafted a rookie this year, so we'll see how that turns out. But Diggs is such a diva. I can't stand him. But back to the game, I'm gonna go with the Texans here. I actually no, I'm gonna go with the Colts. It's in Indianapolis, so I'm gonna go with the Colts.
I love Diggs for 2 reasons. 1, Vikings fans hate him, so I love him. And 2, Minneapolis Miracle. Or you could say 1, Minneapolis
That's
Miracle.
true.
2, Vikings fans hate him. Colts win this game, though.
Yeah. Next game we have Cardinals at Bills. I'm not gonna go with the upset here. I think it's an upset. I don't actually know Vegas what they have, but I'm gonna go with the Cardinals winning this game. I think Marvin Harrison just is gonna dominate. The Bills, Damar Hamlin is actually starting for the first time since his incident. And I don't know. I think the Cardinals are going to be better than people think. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
Where's the game at?
Buffalo.
Hold on. We have a guest appearance.
Hi.
What's up, Quinn?
I think Quinn's been on the school show before.
Yep.
True, she has. Quinn, who's going to win, Vikings or Giants?
Vikings or Giants?
Vikings.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good prediction there.
Who? What game are we on?
Bills versus Cardinals.
Where's it at?
Buffalo.
I think the Bills coach is going to get fired this year.
I agree.
I think Kyler Murray is going to have a comeback year. But I think the Bills win this game.
So you're sticking with your theme.
I don't care.
So Quinn, I actually remember last time you were on the show, you made a bold prediction that the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl this year. How do you feel about that prediction right now?
Great.
Great.
He feels
Yeah.
good.
Well, I'd be happy if it happens.
That makes one of us that feel great about it.
So we'll get to the next game here. We have Titans at Bears. I really don't know how to feel about any of these teams. So Bears are at home, so I'll just take the Bears.
Titans or Bears?
I don't care.
She doesn't care. I think Titans win.
Yeah. Next game, Jaguars at Dolphins. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins just because Dolphins just dominate the September football, and they just crush teams early in the season, and then when it gets cold in their opponent's stadiums, that's when they don't do so well. But Dolphins.
Taking way too many road teams. Don't like it. But since, like I said, it's essentially preseason, week 1, I'm going Jaguars.
Yeah.
Dolphins.
Well,
She likes Dolphins. I like Jaguars.
yeah.
Dolphins.
I took Dolphins.
They're both Florida teams, though, so that's good.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
Dolphins.
Yeah. Is it because of the colors, perchance?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I just like Dolphins.
She likes Dolphins.
Oh, that's fair. Next game, we have Raiders at Chargers. Another game I don't like. I'm gonna go with the Raiders. Chargers, I think it could be really, really bad this year. And Raiders, I think, are gonna be similar to the Vikings, bad but not as bad as the Chargers.
I disagree. Harbaugh's going to do good. They might. In fact, I do have them in the playoffs. Chargers win.
I think Harbaugh will be good eventually, but he has nothing to work with this year. So
They'll be fine.
I think
They'll be fine, right?
I don't care.
She don't care.
Next game, we have Cowboys at Browns. How do you feel about the Cowboys this year?
Since I'll continue giving you predictions for the whole season, Mike McCarthy will get fired during the season.
Zimmer will become intern.
Mike Zimmer will be promoted to head coach. They will let Dak walk. They will draft Deion's kid as quarterback next year, and Mike Zimmer will be the head coach. And then Zimmer can use the money on draft or free agents, and they can draft defensive guys and have a cheap rookie quarterback, right?
I don't know.
She doesn't know.
I have no idea what he said.
Yeah. Do you still like Primetime as much now, or do you think he's bought into the NIL, all that stuff? I never really liked him that much, but I just think he's a bad coach now.
Prime time. I'll always love prime time, but he's not going to do very well this year at Colorado.
What?
Yeah. Travis Hunter though is nuts.
That's who the Vikings need to draft next year.
I agree. I would be a fan of that. So, did you make your prediction on Cowboys Browns?
Where's the game at?
Cleveland
Browns.
Yeah, I'm gonna make the same
Dog
prediction
pound.
there. I think Deshaun Watson somewhat returns back to how he used to be. I think that he's not a great quarterback anymore, but I mean, Cowboys I don't think are going to be that good. They got Rico Dowdle, Ezekiel Elliott, and Dalvin Cook at their running backs. That would be a great running back core in 2019. Unfortunately, it's 2024, so I'm going to go with the Browns. Next game, we have Commanders at Buccaneers. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers here. I don't know. I think Daniels is probably going to struggle early on, and that's just what it comes down to.
Okay, who's the game? Got to go back over.
Commanders at Buccaneers.
Commanders. I'm taking way too many road teams.
Yeah, I know. Next game we have Rams at Lions. I'm actually going to take the Rams on this one. I think the Rams might be dark horse Super Bowl contenders. They got a great offense like usual. Their defense is solid. Lions obviously a really good team, but I don't know. I think the Lions kind of drop off this year. I think last year was a bit too high for the Lions to be. If you want to talk about Vikings fans, like Vikings are always mediocre. I don't know if the Lions can be good for more than 2 years in a row. So I'm going to go with the Rams.
Where's the game?
In Detroit, Sunday Night Football.
I think Detroit's not going to be as good as people think. I agree with you, but I think they'll win week 1, Lions.
Stick with your team. You just bash on that team and then pick them to win. Next game, we have Jets at Niners. This should actually be a really good game. Monday Night Football. You go first. I don't know who would take.
I picked way too many road teams. Jets are going to make the playoffs this year. A-Rod is going to be good, but the Niners win week 1.
Yeah, I think the Jets are gonna win, just because I don't know, really weird vibes coming out of San Francisco. Obviously, they signed both Ayuk and Williams, but having two of your probably top 3 or top 5 players not playing until the last week of training camp, not necessarily a great idea. So I'm gonna go with the Jets. I think
Ayuk,
Brees Hall will have a great year.
Ayuk is on fire.
All right. So that brings us to the end of our week 1 predictions. We'll each do 2 bold predictions. So I'm going to start off with my bold prediction. Jalen Naylor will score a touchdown versus the Giants. Obviously, highly praised in training camp. So I think that he succeeds in this role similar to how KJ Osborne did a few years ago. And I think Naylor scored a touchdown. That's a bold prediction. And that might be a touchdown. Do you say that's a touchdown prediction?
Field goal to safety.
So 5 point.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll
a touchdown, missed extra point.
How about this? If the game is under 20 points and it happens, then it is a touchdown. And if it's over 20 points and it does happen, then it's not a touchdown, just based on the offense.
Yep.
All right. You want to make your first bold prediction?
Most seasons, week 1, there's a significant season-ending injury to some good player. And so I'm going to go with Tua Tagovailoa. Is going to get hurt for the year, week 1. Okay, don't.
Oh, wow. That's a...
Who's their backup?
I believe it's Skylar Thompson, who we saw live in action a few years ago. I'll look at it, though.
So Sam Darnold might get traded to the Dolphins the bye week after the London game.
That could actually be a Nick Mullins trade. I think that they're trying to trade him. How do you feel about Brett Rypien being brought in?
If he plays, then there's no reason to watch the game.
Yeah.
However,
sure.
He can't be any worse than Nick cotton-headed Ninny Mullins.
Yeah. Skylar Thompson is a backup. I just confirmed. So yeah, that would be not good.
Two is going to go down.
Yeah,
that's got to be like 2 touchdowns.
That's a Hail Mary. Well, if that happens, we'll give you 2 touchdowns. If season-ending injury, do you want to? Should we say like 6+? He gets put on IR after this week.
I'm not wishing upon him, but it always happens to a star player, and that's what I'm going with. No, not right now.
Oh.
So we'll say Tua gets put on IR after week 1, which I will say is a 2 touchdown prediction because that's pretty unlikely, but I get where you're coming from.
What?
Quinn, do you have any bold predictions you want to make on the Vikings?
Any bold predictions for the Vikings game?
I don't know.
No bold predictions from Quinn.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to make my second prediction. I'm going to say that Saquon Barkley finishes with the most fantasy points out of any running back if he stays healthy all season. So I was gonna go off rushing yards for this one, but an easier way to look at a player especially a skill position success is fantasy points. So I'll just say Saquon Barkley will finish as the RB1 in fantasy football at the end of the year if he stays healthy, which makes it not a touchdown prediction.
Okay, I'm gonna say that. Who do the Cowboys play? The Browns.
Yep.
I'm gonna say that the Cowboys have as many defensive touchdowns as they do offensive touchdowns. Don't in that game. Quinn, you can't be on if you're doing that.
Why?
So we have some.
That's got to be 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's probably also 2 touchdowns. So
okay.
Sounds good on prediction. So now, next topic, Mike Zimmer, and this is going to turn into Mike Zimmer versus Kevin O'Connell. So we'll read off some of the quotes and react to them quote by quote. So we have former Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer on the Vikings. They, as in the Wilfs, asked me if I wanted to address the team, and I said, no, they got me fired. I've not watched one Minnesota game since the firing. How do you feel about that?
10 out of 10. 15, love it.
I think that I think that shows a complete lack of accountability from Zimmer, which obviously is why he's not going to become a head coach again. Just saying that the team got you fired, like even if it's true, you don't really say that, especially when you're trying to get another job.
The fact
So
he said it is why we love it. Next question.
yeah, I
Bye.
think that's
Oh, bye. See you, Quinn.
accountability.
See you, Quinn.
Bye, Quinn. My next prediction here. So Mike Zimmer was reacting to Chris Boyd's comments about him, and this is how he reacted. Chris Boyd, he said something about me. I'm like, dude, you have more special teams penalties than anyone I can remember.
Oh man, if the last one was 15 out of 10, this is 100 out of 10. One of the best quotes I've ever heard,
and
and probably accurate.
Yeah, that probably is accurate. And then Boyd later responded on an Instagram story saying, "I don't have this pulled up, but he said something along the lines of like, dude, Zim, you were my guy. I loved you." So,
Hayes just calling it how it is. I don't want to steal your thunder, but the best quote of the century is the Kellen Mond one, but we'll get to that.
yeah, we'll get to that. I think that might be next, actually. Nope, not yet. So this is him on Rick Spielman during the 2021 draft. He hadn't told me anything. Normally, he always kept me abreast of everything. Rick tried to trade up for Justin Fields, who hasn't done anything. When he picked Mond, I walked out of the room. I left the building. I didn't even talk to him on the phone. So I actually do agree with Zimmer on this one. I think Spielman, I don't know. I feel like the lack of communication there is just awful, and that's why they got fired together. I don't know. I don't like that quote for either Spielman or Zimmer, especially not Spielman though. And he was 100% right about Fields, by the way. He has not done anything.
Love that Zimmer left the room. Phenomenal.
All right, here's his comments on Kellen Mond. People make a big deal of my comments. I saw him every day in practice. Maybe I was omniscient or something. He played 3 snaps in the NFL, and 2 of them were bad.
The only thing that he could have did better there is say 2 of them were terrible.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll get to Mond's reaction in a second, but this is his next quote on signing Kirk Cousins, which I think is where him and Spielman started to drift apart. But he said, "We're averaging 10 wins a year, playing really good defense with some other quarterbacks who weren't as talented as Kirk. Then we pay Kirk a lot of money and ended up having to get rid of some guys on defense and weren't able to get ones we needed." So this is a tough one for you because you love Kirk and Zimmer. So whose side do you take on that?
I do like Kirko, but when they signed him, I thought it was dumb. So I kind of agree with Zimmer on that one. I just thought he was overpaid. Kind of a stats guy, which he's kind of proven to be, but I still like Kirko for other reasons. So, but I think Zim's right. I didn't like the signing at the time either.
Yeah. I think he is right about that, but I don't know. I feel like, again, probably shouldn't say that. Maybe once you're like officially retired from coaching, but remember, he's an active coach for another team. Like he's probably gonna have to play with some of these players again, and including one of those players that spoke bad about him was Eric Kendricks, who is now on his team. So that's probably pretty awkward. But
they put water under the bridge. They talked about it.
Yeah. So this is Kellen Mond's response to Zimmer. He said, I don't even know what our relationship was. Never spoke to him one time. The only coach I've ever had where his players and peers had zero respect for him. So,
well, you can't take Kellen Mond's comments about the players not respecting him because he was in the league for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's not in the league anymore. He's terrible. He should just go do something else.
You have to admit, though, it is awful of a head coach to never speak to a quarterback that you drafted one time. I don't care if you don't like the guy.
He didn't draft him, though.
Yeah, but you can't just not talk to him. He's a head coach. He's not like a positional coach. Like his literal job is to be the coach of everybody, not just the defense, which is why he should be a defense coordinator.
With that being said, you would be surprised in pro sports. It's a profession. It's a business. These guys don't talk as much as you think. It's a business. They go out and coach. The positional coaches actually talk to the guys a lot. The head coaches do not. And I stand by that. I don't think many of the head coaches talk to many of the players.
I think that one of those head coaches that do would be Kevin O'Connell. And
there you go. Good transition into positional coach. That's what he is.
Zimmer literally said he wouldn't even want to coach the
night.
quarterback. In fact, one of his quotes was that the reason that he won't get another head coaching job is because he's too old and because guys now have to coach the quarterback.
I think those are true statements.
But he's a head coach. He shouldn't care about having to coach the quarterback. That's his job.
Not the third string quarterback.
Yeah, but just he didn't say the third string. He just said in general.
Yeah, I think that's taken out of content.
It's quoted from him. So
he talked to Kurt.
Yeah, but not until like 3 years in.
Yeah, no, I know that. Those guys actually used to meet in his office and go through the game plan together. So he did meet with the quarterback. He did not meet with the irrelevant third string quarterback, which no coach meets with the third string quarterback unless they get promoted because of injury or whatever.
Well, I think that's where you're wrong. I think O'Connell has a great relationship with just about all of his players. And
right now he does. Wait till he gets fired.
Yeah.
It always comes out after the guy leaves or gets fired. But anyway, Infant's not a good head coach. He's a positional coach. He's going to be an offense coordinator forever, which is fine. But he's just not a head coach. For the opposite reasons of why you're ripping Zimmer, he doesn't have the respect of the players because he's too nice and he's Smiley. We call him Smiley. I might change his name from Infant to Smiley in year 3. Can I do that?
Yeah. Well, hey, he's not really an infant anymore, so yeah, you can.
I think we might have to go to Smiley. Can we do that? Skull Soul episode 1, 2024. Infant renamed Smiley. That could be the highlight of the Skull Show.
Yeah, it could be.
Should we go with it?
I think we do because I'd be fine with that nickname because he's not really an infant anymore. It's his 3rd year, so yeah, I think Smiley's a good one.
Well, this is groundbreaking Skull Show material. You're going to have to send out some social media posts about this information because this is very critical.
Yeah.
Are you typing in Infant got changed to Smiley?
Yeah, pretty much.
You'll have to let me know what portion of the video this was so I can send it to my friends because they'll want to hear this part of it.
Yeah, I will. So I like Smiley.
So anyway, we wish Smiley luck. He bought himself another year with McCarthy getting injured for the season, so he'll be back next year regardless of what the record is, and at least we have a new nickname for him, so that's good. All positive.
That's true. Hold on, I'll try to.
Oh, the dog's barking. We might have to wrap it up soon. Can you hear him?
Yep. I'll let you step away for a second if you need to.
No, we'll just have to wrap, and then I have to go get him.
All right.
He'll be high maintenance.
So yeah, we have the ticker going on the bottom.
Good addition. I like
it. So
good stuff.
In conclusion, KOC is a way better head coach. You can debate if he's a better football mind than Zimmer, but way better head coach than Zimmer. And I don't think that's much of a debate.
It actually is. Can you put up Zimmer's career record versus Infant's?
Yeah, I can actually.
Later. You can do it later.
I'll do it right now. Well, actually, okay. I have one more thing I want to do. I want to show you a video of Jefferson.
We just call him Infant again. It's Smiley.
No, I said Jefferson.
No, before that. But
all right,
I don't want to watch Jefferson video. I want to watch Randy Moss video.
Well,
here's him talking about KOC.
That you've only been in one playoff game in your career. Like, this is year 5 for you. You do this deal.
One playoff game.
Anywhere, Justin. I have to ask you, why stay in Minnesota? Why Minnesota?
I mean, just
180 million reasons.
Just that connection is just not found anywhere. Especially, the connection that I have with KO, having a head coach, just is that player oriented and that I have a very close connection with. It's not something that you can find at the next team, you know. So
there's
So I was kind
Jefferson
of cutting
talking
out. Whoever your head coach is at Jordan could be the head coach, and he would say the same thing. The reason he signed at Minnesota is whatever his contract was, 180 million. 180 million reasons why he signed here. Has nothing to do with the head coach. Mike Tice could be the head coach, and he would have re-signed for 180.
Well, I mean, he would have gotten
Heck,
paid by
Zimmer could have been the coach. He would have signed for 180 million.
Well, I think that's more of just saying that you're saying the players don't respect him, and I haven't seen one instance where they don't. But I'll pull up the records of Kevin O'Connell and Mike Zimmer, and then I'll let you go.
Smiley versus Zim. Zim's got 74 career wins. Smiley has 20. And
well, that's not
Smiley
a fair
has
comparison.
0 playoff wins. And Zim has 2 and 3 in the playoffs with the Vikings.
I think that's an unfair prediction or like way to look at it. You have to look more
Why? It's
percentage wise.
54 more wins.
Well, yeah, but he also had like 10 more seasons. So
Well,
here, I'll share
that's
this
part of
screen.
the deal, though. Is part of the deal is being able to get your job year after year in the NFL. If you're not good after like 3 or 4 years, you're fired.
Well, KOC hasn't been fired yet, so it's unfair to say.
Well, he bought himself a year with the J.J. McCarthy injury, which was out of his hands. But if he's not good next year, he will be fired.
So we have
That's
here
a fact.
Mike Zimmer, career record as coach. He went 70, 72, 56, and 1 with a 5.26 win percentage right here, right?
And 2 playoff wins.
And 2 playoff wins over 10 years, about
But
8 years as a
2
coach.
and 3. 2 and 3.
Yep. And then we go to this one. Kevin O'Connell actually has a higher win percentage in his own one in the playoffs, but they are kind of in a rebuild right now. So a little bit unfair.
Nope.
But
Nope.
We'll look at the stats.
Smiley's boss said that they're not in a rebuild. He said that. You can look it up. So
well,
anyway,
just like your thing about Jefferson will say that about any coach, any owner would say that they're not in a rebuild because
not the owner, the GM. But anyway,
well, he would say
I
that too.
I gotta take the dog out here. I'm getting text messages. But yeah, I can't remember what I was gonna say. But we'll see how it plays out. But Smiley will be an offense coordinator for his whole life.
Well, Zimmer will be a defensive coordinator for his whole life. So that's what it
Until
comes down
week
to.
14,
Yep.
when McCarthy gets fired.
Yeah, we'll hopefully be back here next week. Talk about week 1, go into week 2. So thank you guys for watching this. Thank you for coming on. See you guys next week.
Very